That performance from Summit was certainly something that Hanwha could not deal with, but OnFleek deserves an honorable mention as far as MVPs are concerned, because his Lee Sin was really, really good. Jace, though, is going to be the first ban, and that surprises me.
It just feels like no one has worked out how good or bad Jace is. Jace is still Jace, so there's still going to be a lot of priority in his lanes, but losing that first max abilities damage does change and shift matchups. So for now, at least, preparation put into Jace suggests he should be banned on the blue side and banned from Summit, I guess we should say, most clearly. See where the priority is for Hanwha Live, because again, it's kind of a scattered draft in game number 1. I was actually talking to Konkwi, one of the Korean casters, during the break between games, and he had the same thought we did of, why Thresh Ashe of all lanes?
Yeah.
With Kalista up, just the combination of champions was a peculiar one, given where things are at. Jace, Aurelia, those are the two removed so far of those flex bans that we saw so commonly at MSI, and the Aatrox and Yuumi, also pretty standard red side bans at the moment.
Yeah, probably the most standard across the regions at the moment is the Aatrox and the Yuumi, despite the fact that Aatrox is 0-3 here. In the LCK, the Sejuani that we were talking about before is going to be the final ban once again on the blue side. Blue side bans last game were Aurelia, Olaf, and Sejuani, and that's what SANDBOX can use their one flexible ban in order to take away. The Olaf no longer going to be hitting the Rift, and that makes sense against both Mugen and BonO. And most notably BonO for Hanwha Life as far as the spring season was concerned. And they're going to prioritize the Ryze
over
instead of the Sylas. Yeah,
and where Sylas went in the draft was probably going to be the most intriguing question, given that game 1, very early Ryze Vlad, but then really no ability to convert Ryze Vlad, it felt like, on the side of Hanwha.
And also very early solo lanes picked up. We thought that the Vladimir might be flexed towards the bottom side of the map, but it's been a long time since that's happened. So giving away a lot of what makes red side so powerful at the moment were Hanwha Life. So we'll see whether SANDBOX deal with it better. And I have a feeling picking up the Rek'Sai as well as the Sylas is certainly a way to make a draft that isn't giving away anything from the first 2 picks.
It's champions that work well together, and if you look at red side drafts, very uncommon for it to be 2 solo lane picks. It does happen, especially at MSI. We saw it, Kali and Sylas, for example, happened quite a lot. But usually it's this cadence of strong flex champion and jungler. Yeah. And of the junglers taken away, Sejuani and Olaf seem to be S tier at the moment. The Rek'Sai taken. Moment that you can't get both of Zyra Khan. Zyra Khan is a very common blue side duo, and this time the synergy's there. It's the Lovers duo. It's written on the box.
Yeah, and also Key had some of his best performances on the Rakan earlier in his career as well, so we'll see whether they're going to continue to raise some eyebrows here for this duo. The Tahm Kench for Joker is going to be picked up once again. It worked last game. So I guess we're going to have to stop putting the catfish down, even though you can't walk very fast once you've devoured your teammate. It does mean that they're untargetable, and if there's someone that you want to be hitting instead of a Tahm Kench, then that certainly can be good in some of these fights.
Yeah, a lot of the mechanics that Tahm Kench was used to answer, things like Jarvan, for example, he can't answer in the same way because you can't flash out of the Cataclysm anymore with the grounded effect when you have someone in your belly. So yeah, there's a lot that's changed, and yet Tahm Kench still persists. He is just he's a survivor, Atlas. That's all we've learned about.
It feels like, yeah, it's gone from it being an escape tool to devour to it being more of a extended Zhonya's type effect. It's more about the untargetability and having the rest of your team be able to come up and actually defend, as opposed to something that can actually get you out of a sticky situation.
I'm going to say that I look at Tahm Kench and it feels more like a symptom of a problem of the Korean playstyle than necessarily worth first rounding reliably. They get the Skarner ban in here, which is a nice byproduct of Zyra Khan being picked up, no jungler, and we saw the Skarner versus Rek'Sai interaction even on Korean soil yesterday.
Yeah, Peanut actually having a breakout game on the Skarner, turning around the fate of Gen G with that particular pickup. The Zoe going to be the final ban here. Understandable against Dove because he did have a great laning phase and a great performance despite being overshadowed by OnFleek and Summit.
Goes to Draven player. I would have loved to see Draven here, but with Varus up, it's pretty hard not to see them rolling it back. Then a Flash the Misfortune that does have a very strong laning phase and could be considered.
Yeah, a bit of a grin on his face here as well as Ghost is cycling through a few choices. Doesn't have a lot of time left though, so 3 seconds on the clock, and Varus is going to be what he goes back to and laughs at all of us who thought that he might have been picking up something else.
Super standard. Now action over to, in particular, BonO. What are we playing? Because Jarvan could just be taken here, and that would be the kind of mindless choice. I'd love to see BonO visit kind of his extended book. He's got some of those picks. He's definitely a jungler. It's a little bit different to the normal Korean jungle. He had some huge pop-up games in spring season. Here we go. Gragas is coming out. Champion whose win rate has gone up. And how about Gragas? Yasuo, the synergy there is very clear.
And this was an absolute winning duo as well for teams like even KT were able to make that one work, but Kingzone was so good at Gragas Yasuo and making that one happen.
Now, this would usually be a Tempt pick if it was on Hanwha Life. Lava plays it, but Tempt was usually their Yasuo. They're going for it anyway, so this is exciting. First time we're seeing the Gragas Yasuo do that. Like you mentioned, popularized most recently by Kingzone in Korea. Now SANDBOX have to pick up the pieces and work out the lane assignments. Sylas does not like laning against Yasuo.
Yep, we met some fans here today as well that were actually praying for Yasuo, so they do manage to get their wish fulfilled. Final pickup here for SANDBOX. 2 seconds to go. What will Dove be piloting as the Akali looks to be the choice? Akali Sylas is certainly a lot of chaos that you can provide in a lot of these team fights, but the identity for SANDBOX has changed a little bit despite having the same picks on the top side of the map and the bottom side.
That's awesome BonO drawing. Really, really good artwork here around the stadium.
Cool.
The SANDBOX guys are just unbelievably strong. Shout out to the SANDBOX fan groups that put those together.
Wow.
Akali was the champion that allowed SANDBOX to have such a strong start to spring season, you'll remember, Atlas. Dove and Summit, both outstanding Akali players. And this is a pick they were just able to ride into match win after match win. It's why they started so hot and heavy in spring season. So it coming back after being kind of notably on the sidelines, been very little Akali contesting so far. There was some small nerfs again, incrementally, after MSI, but it's still a champion that is very, very powerful. It's good to see an Akali team re-debut the Akali for summer season, and it also allows the Sylas to get the hell away from Yasuo whenever possible.
Precisely. So Lava is going to be piloting that, of course. The mid-jungle duo of Yasuo Gragas is one of the best that we have ever seen, and certainly was great in spring, but we'll see how it has actually evolved. Moving into summer, Gragas got a few buffs, but the game has changed a little bit. See how it is going to fare now on 9-11. Looking over the other side, you mentioned the Akali. First time that we saw it here for summer, it was a glaring victory for the Akali. See whether that happens once more. I believe it was BDD that piloted that one for the first time, and certainly showed that when you pair the Akali with something like a pike top, you can create some real crazy shenanigans in a lot of these skirmishes.
BonO back in the lineup. Can Hanwha Life actually ride the change into a changed look at their early game? First 10 minutes, almost absent were Hanwha Life from it in game number 1. They need to step up in game number 2. Fighting for supremacy there, Atlas.
There were 3 different people attempting to start that fan chant, and eventually it happened. SANDBOX fans out in force. As we mentioned at the beginning of game number 1, it is Memorial Day here in Korea, 6th of June. So that's why we have a flag at half-mast, just to pay our respect to those who fought so valiantly in the Korean War.
The SANDBOX in this game, if you kind of pick up the piece of what the draft represents, much more of a 1-3-1 flavor than their previous draft, which is a lot more about grouping. You know, the change from Zoe to Akali obviously changes the mindset a lot. What I will say about SANDBOX is, at level 6, they 2v2s around top or mid lane are going to be really, really powerful. And that's just the reality of how much burst damage Hail of Blades Rek'Sai will provide early, so that's the tool, that's the time. I feel like OnFleek could just take over this game and decide it before Hanwha Life gets into momentum, because remember, a lot more conditional on the Hanwha Life side. The Gragas Yasuo combo, it eventually becomes something that is, if the enemy has flash, maybe we can't engage in the mid to late game. We've seen this duo pop off, but also be held in check.
Well, Thal, as you can see, Aftershock has been taken once again. First time I think we've seen Aftershock rise here in summer in the LCK. Aftershock not exactly as wanted to be taken as it would in the past, but if you're going to go the Righteous Glory route, which I assume he will be, you will actually be able to synergize it a little bit more with those resistance scalings that you do have access to.
It feels like a weak side choice as well. And what I mean by that is, when I see Aftershock rise top, I'm like, okay, so you're not getting any ganks this game, is kind of how I look at it. The Summit has the, I'm going to push the advantage and try to push the lane Comet and on the Silas, and it's the Aftershock Rise. So even though it's a range versus melee matchup where Rise can just go for Comet and just press W and get some nice burst trades in and keep the health down, this is much more about not getting all in rather than controlling the lane like Rise often does after a couple of items.
You can see Summit was actually very comfortable just trying to pressure him out as that wave was in a neutral position. Now pushed up, he's not going to be able to. Okay, Barrel's going to fly on over as BonO spots OnFleek being a bit cheeky on his blue side jungle.
The deep wards, that's why they spotted BonO going for an early recall, but with Predator gets back fast. We're still fighting.
Yeah, Body Slam's going to come in, but that's a great knock up there from OnFleek. Down to about 300 health, but BonO's down to 200 as Summit has found Thal on his rotation over. Dove and Lava are fighting as well. It's a fight on 3 fronts at the moment, as SANDBOX, the top, and jungle are going to pair up together, and the blue buff was stolen there by OnFleek.
I've never seen an invade quite like that. We had 3 1v1s rather than a skirmish between 2 people versus 2, so it was very, very different. OnFleek's still not done. Forces a smite on Wolves as Lava really doesn't want to walk over, wants to stay in lane and CS under the turret, but OnFleek, we talked about level 6, even before then, he's trying to use everything Rek'Sai provides to keep the brawl going.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic here that he's utilizing the Hail of Blades choice this early in the game, contesting for things like that, because Gragas can be no slouch in the early game, but when you do have that Hail of Blades, the Rek'Sai is always going to win in those opening bouts of damage. Okay.
Continues to push up.
The Shuriken backflip not landing there is actually very important for Lava, who could have taken way more damage than that. And speaking of which, BonO's coming up. Thal was actually trying to bait the Rune Prison. Is very late, but it's working out pretty well here for Hanwha. The ward goes down. That's first blood going to BonO. And the Gragas can now transition that money all over the map.
BonO subverts expectation a bit and goes top anyway, in spite of Thal being very low on mana and having the Aftershock. And it just surprises Summit, who thought he had a free lane to continue to push and take down. So nice little advantage there for Hanwha Life, and a big change from Hanwha Life. Remember, we said, let's find some inroads into the game pre-10 minutes.
BonO's still up here as Thal turns up once again. He's got himself the tier, some brown bags picked up as well as Thal gets that wave shoved into the turret. Investing the teleport there just to make sure he can get the wave in, and he may not even necessarily do that as Summit's trying to hold on to it. Lava down to half health here in the mid lane as Dove's having a great time. 36 to 32 though is nothing to write home about. Top side of the map as well, Summit still has that lead despite dying.
Only a no magic mantle and a control ward picked up by Summit on that back, so he just wants to keep up the pressure. OnFleek in a great gank spot.
Yep, looking for it. There's the knock-up. Rune Prison does come in, so Aftershock is going to be there. OnFleek taking 1 turret shot, but that rune choice came up clutch in that moment.
Early flash to try to blow him up before he could use the W and get the Aftershock resist ends up being a trade from OnFleek. So yes, Summit will be able to return to pressuring the lane, but no kill to justify the all-in.
Yeah. So Thal not going to be getting that flash to start off any engagements as well, so Summit probably going to be a little bit more comfortable continuing the playstyle that he did have earlier on.
And I think that's an important thing to mention, is that sometimes your jungler is doing you a solid if he just trades his flash for a laner's flash, because now the flash advantage is not an extra reason the Summit has to be respectful.
Yeah, and also Summit will have his flash available more early than Thal will. Of course, OnFleek going to be able to utilize his much better as far as getting those ganks working, but if Summit can actually, you know, flash abscond or something like that in order to get himself in range, that can be a really pivotal thing in a gank situation. So Thal, you can see, has to now play a lot more respectfully.
It just feels like OnFleek and BonO will change their attention to mid lane, where it's 2 assassins, 1 of physical damage, 1 of magic damage, both of which with Ignite Atlas. So there's a lot of kill pressure in the mid lane when those ultimates become available. BonO's setting up a camp top side. I thought it was going to be Thal and Mugen as BFFs, but it appears that BonO is trying to encroach in that territory.
Yep, just trying to make sure that Thal remembers him as well. But it's a control ward is the only investment, as Summit holds onto that minion wave very nicely. His wave control has actually been fantastic so far this game. Saw earlier on it was working out as well. So he's going to hold that towards the turret, and that CS advantage is going to continue to balloon here in favor of the Silas, who is down a kill, but I have a feeling that that gold is probably even in his favor rather than in Thal's.
With that much of a CS lead, hard to see it being any different. OnFleek Might have been spotted on the edge of one of these wards, probably approaching the control ward, obviously confirms it. So BonO walks up.
Yeah, BonO actually might get sandwiched here by the 4 people of SANDBOX. Dove going to get on over before Lava does, and that means this Ocean Drake is going to go down at 7.5 minutes. And if you ever want an Ocean Drake, it is as early as possible, being the optimal time.
Silas especially will be able to be free with mana use in the top side, so nice pick up there. The SANDBOX. Again, we talked about how much Rek'Sai can turn this game with basically the ability to find inroads wherever she goes, especially as she closes in on level 6.
Yep, and be getting there very, very soon as well. Actually, you can choose to go for a back. I wonder whether that's Warrior Enchant already completed. 2.5 camps ahead is going to be the Rek'Sai, but OnFleek not quite able to gather the Warrior Enchantment. Does have a control ward though, and Caulfield's Warhammer will help with those cooldowns. Thal under the turret finally has an opportunity to freely CS, but at the moment it's almost double the farm number here for Summit. Summit really putting a name on his back as far as the battle for best top laner in the LCK is concerned. We're going to be seeing Keen in our next match, and we'll see how he's going to be able to fare.
And Summit was that surprise name, right? We came in with literally no expectations for him in spring season, and it was quick. It was right from the start that he was able to build a lot of respect. Right now, he builds a very, very short jump with the Realm Walk.
Hey,
such is the reality.
Make sure that he could hold on to that mini-wave before it got to the turret. Pop Smithy, okay?
Honestly, in the Ryze versus Silas matchup, you mostly use your ultimate to get a passive reset.
Yeah.
Your Summit, so not
exactly
a super high value scenario in the laning phase.
You can get an explosive cast through this game. I don't know whether we've seen too much Silas versus the Gragas, but that could be something pretty good, as well as Summit being able to grab a last breath. And with there being OnFleek on the map, last breath could actually be a pretty fun one.
There's another freeze top side done by Summit here. It's been something that has led to the CS lead that we've noticed has been about 20 CS for the majority. And while it gives Ryze back timings, Ryze has got nothing to buy. Ryze wants to be pushing and starting to harass down this Silas, but with no jungler topside, he can't walk up. And the moment he does walk up, you just assume that Gragas is near the lane.
Yep. And at the moment, it's OnFleek that was near the lane. Control vision is going to mean that he backs outside of vision.
Freeze continues, Atlas.
Oh, God.
He's going to start to slowly push out, but slowly is something the Ryze doesn't want to deal with. 500 gold down already.
Yeah. Well, Shelly could be the option here, and you can see BonO is going to start her up. And I have a feeling that Thal moving on down to try and help out with this one is probably the best use of his time, because right now just milling about on the top side is not really helping him too much.
Thal just hit 50 CS at 10.5 minutes.
Yeah.
As insane.
And now has to leave the wave as it starts shoving towards him. His Summit is going to dive in onto 4 people, most likely. Shelly going down very low. Is it at 500 health? It was stolen by Summit. The Rek'Sai is going to go down, so the kills are in favor of Hanwha, but the damage has been done. Now they have to defend Shelly's eye to make sure that SANDBOX can't pick it up. But you can see Summit, he's so incredibly slippery. He could possibly be able to get in here and just take that one away.
Summit just did everything there. Picking it up with the Q, the smite, half a second too early from BonO. Trying to patrol this one, they're going to give it up.
Yep, Dove comes on down, Summit grabs it, the Abscond not quite going to be there as Lava's looking for it. Doesn't actually decide to pull the trigger on the knock-up as Windwall is in a weird position. There's a knock-up onto Joker as Dove dives on forward. He bends his own ultimate to take down the Yasuo. Thal now in trouble as a teleport is coming in. Thal has to flash, but does get himself out. Sangyoon, that's an opening with the ultimate as Dove does go golden. Is he actually going to survive though as Summit needs another Kingslayer? The Rakan is going to go down as there's a Rek'Sai that makes his way back in, and the Hail of Blades triple kill to be followed up with Dove's kill gives it back to SANDBOX.
It's 11-minute ace. I don't know what part was better, when they curved the ultimate or the ending there where they were able to get out with no casualties whatsoever, and meanwhile, Ghost was bot the entire time.
Again! This happened in game 1.
So watch Dove as he comes in. Akali, his best champion by far when we saw him. He opens up with the E. That's onto Thal, you can notice. And watch how this play goes. This is after already it's gone down. At the start here, it's just poking around. But as the re-engage comes in, this is where things change. Because you think the SANDBOX is going to lose the moment the Baron is chilling bot side. Dove comes in, opens with R onto Lava. But watch this ending to it with the direction change to pick up the kill. Rek'Sai's not there because she died initially to make all of this happen. But as the brawl continues and through a teleport to allow the Xayah to continue, watch how no one else. First it's a stasis, they continue to brawl, and then OnFleek shows up, Hail of Blades, and the AoE on the queue for the triple. They finish off another. Let's listen in on the comms. There should be some excitement here.
Let's go, kill them all, is what Joker's been saying. And that certainly was exactly what OnFleek did. He got back so fast to that fight. Just shows how extended it was.
Now, Hanwha Life, if they weren't tilted before, you are so tilted now.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was a 60 health Q from the Silas that led to the Rift Herald being picked up, and now they're just going, packing up, finding whoever they can kill.
Yep, Grand Entrance comes in, there's the last breath, but Ghosty's free-hitting. Lava takes so much damage, the barrel is going to come back, but OnFleek finds his way in. This is a Rek'Sai though, and he's pretty squishy at this stage. Sangyoon's limping away, Lava's limping away, Ghost really wants to try and get there, but the flash wasn't enough. Oh man, robbed as it's only Joker that falls down.
2 or 3 kills as Summit's TP continued, but unfortunately was interrupted by the Rise. That's the reason the Summit wasn't able to join. They're looking for kills still.
Yep, Back's going everywhere as Key, able to battle dance just as his teammate is going to be leaving. Wasn't actually able to pick up on the recall as Sangyoon did get back a little bit earlier, but they are going to lose that turret on the bottom side. Top side outer had already fallen. Look at that gold advantage for the Silas. 2.2k at 14 minutes if you don't mind.
And this is SANDBOX further winning. They won out in terms of getting turret plate spot
great
side.
Rotation.
Exactly. Keeping the minion alive means that even just a 3 minion wave is enough to take down the mid lane turret. This game is 6,400 gold lead already, Atlas.
SANDBOX are really making it look like they have the best read on the meta so far. They've been playing fast and loose, but only when they are supposed to. And look at that turret plating gold advantage that they picked up just by reading the game better.
The only reason for Hanwha Life to send the conga line bot side with including Gragas and Yasuo was just kill someone to get some morale up. That's the only reason you make this play. This is a negative variance play. Side of Hanwha Life, yes, they use everything and kill Joker, but only because the teleport is interrupted does Lava and more not go down. They can't take down OnFleek, who survives through all of this, and they take down the 2 turret plates and the mid lane turret after this all-in gets only 1 kill for Hanwha Life.
And the whole time you got Thal just still not getting any help on the top side and Summit smashing him over and over again. So as these extended plays happen, things get more and more worrisome as OnFleek just lets them know that he has Tremor Sense. And Rek'Sai's a pretty good champion when it comes to setting up a brush when you haven't quite established it just yet.
This game has gone to hell in a handbasket. We both got it there. It's a jinx moment there.
Just shows our synergy, Pop Smithy. But it wasn't too hard to understand what was on your mind because you're exactly right. Felt like after that Rift Herald battle, where Shelly defected and went over to SANDBOX's side after Hanwha put in all the effort, was certainly a turning point as now BonO has to use his body slam in order to make his way out of range of a Tahm Kench.
Well, some comical item timings on the solo lanes in particular. Dove and Summit are already massive this early into the game. Immediate power on the Proto Belt and the Gunblade. Got the Lost Chapter items going to be completed soon. It's just a Seraph's right? Just a attempt to move towards the Seraphs and the Archangel stuff for Thal. So 2-level advantage for Dove, for Thal. Just feels like in every single way Hanwha Life are just saying maybe they don't close the game before our items are done, and that's pretty much their only hope.
Yep. Summit has a 70 CS advantage now over Thal.
I was concerned.
Yeah, Thal is concerned as well. He's wondering where all those minions that he was supposed to have killed by now went. Because sitting below 100 CS at 17 minutes into the game is certainly something that we haven't been used to seeing here in the LCK.
100 CS mark is going to be hit at around 17.5 minutes for Thal. He's been so curtailed by Summit.
Oh, yeah.
In the lane, and now he doesn't have to deal with Summit. Dove just comes to join. Dove and Summit have flexed upon, specifically Hanwha Life's top lane, and obviously Lava is going to be farming for items, only really get going later in the game. Bot lane.
That's the flash knockup. Thal is going to disappear. Aftershock or no, you are dead, Mr. Rise.
From the Aftershock choice to play weak side, and even after the jungle attention, things have never gotten better for Hanwha Life's top laner. SANDBOX push in, and we might be going towards a long breakout list because Hanwha Life are just worlds apart from SANDBOX.
Yeah, I think they're looking for more towels to throw in at this point, Papa Smithy. This one is feeling about as over as it can be. 8,000 gold to lead at 18 minutes into this game. Dove's going to get knocked up, but he's inside his shroud. Feeling pretty comfy. OnFleek not wanting to get too much more. Ring around the rosies happening, but eventually does go down. That was real cute, but what else can SANDBOX actually get from this map? As Tom Kench not interested in licking this dying tower.
Yes, Akali died, but was actually able to sidestep the entire quickness.
Yeah, the Yakety Sax was actually hilarious.
If only we could just play that sound. I feel like we should have a Yakety Sax button. It's one of our real long-term in-jokes on this stream.
I'm actually a little bit worried about that, though, because I feel like if there's too many of those moments, then my job gets irrelevant.
It's public domain, I assume, Yakety Sax, right? Can't be.
I'd assume that the statute of limitations was up a while ago. That particular one.
That's how music works. I'm pretty sure the Beethoven stuff is also public domain, right?
That's why if you're on YouTube and people like want to put music there, like you'll hear the Nutcracker Suite all the time.
That's true.
Stuff like that. Hey, it is so old. I'm not entirely I'm not 100% on that one, but that's what I always do.
I know that's how it is for like characters. I know Sherlock Holmes was like that recently, right? There was the story around that.
And that's why you've got so many different iterations.
And so many TV shows. So many TV shows that are basically Sherlock Holmes with some modifications.
Yeah. Just call it Sherlock Holmes.
Sangyoon turns on the red buff, and look at how many members they need to send.
5 people to secure a red buff. As, there's a Realm Warp, and that is going to be counteracted by Joker's Flash. Summit, he's going to use his own. His was longer. As you saw, as OnFleek and Dove, they're on the top side of the map, and this is one of those games where it feels like your opponent just has more players on the map.
SANDBOX is so far ahead that it feels like Hanwha Life are doing Season 1 macro and SANDBOX doing Season 9 macro, right? Because obviously there's so many jokes that go on, how many, like, you know, electricians you need, all about...
how many people are screwing in this live bulb?
Exactly. That's what I was trying to get to, and yeah, it feels like all of them are just laughing at Hanwha Life this game.
Yeah. How many Hanwha Life members do you need to take one red buff is one of those jokes that I think
the answer is 5 for that. So, yeah.
Normally it's the number 6 that you associate with Hanwha Life, but for this game it's 5.
This is kind of a sad game from Hanwha Life's side. It started off better because they got the gank top side. We were surprised to see BonO go top side to the Aftershock user, but I guess BonO just had to come and duo lane for a bit to push it out, stop the freezes, because the freezes were so well engineered by Summit this game.
Well, Mr. Gragas had to get a body slam in order to make his way out. Shuriken backflip's not enough for Dove to actually catch up. Decided he didn't want to invest anything else. Baron is now on the table, has been there for close to a minute. We do have Rift Scuttle Vision available here for Hanwha, which is helping them hold on to some sort of control of that Baron area, and they at least now do have a couple of control wards put back towards that top side, but it feels once again like game number 1, where they were just trying to get vision around that Baron if they could find it. SANDBOX, they've got the Skirmishers trio of dragons. With 3 oceans, they can go for as many fights as they want, wait a little while, and then do it all again.
And it's just 1-3-1 forever, and even in Champs that we're talking about how Hanwha Life had a combo drop where they needed all their pieces to come together, the Gragas Yasuo plus the engage from Rakan, in order to make things happen. That's why we've seen them group so repeatedly, because if they outnumber, then the gold deficiencies in 1v1s aren't as relevant. However, SANDBOX are just going to make this map feel super wide and super perilous.
And super dark as well.
And Hanwha Life just never find anything when they actually group their forces.
SANDBOX now just trying to wrestle back control of that Baron area. I don't know whether they are too keen to go for a super early Baron. It might be a way that Hanwha does find their way back in. And when you've got the Yasuo Gragas If you're all grouped up, it can be a really bad time if that cask is going to land at the right position. So I like the respect that's given here by SANDBOX. If you're going to lose this game, it's going to be around there. So make sure that if you are going to go for it, you are sure you can take it. And when they're winning this 1-3-1 so effectively, there's just no need to go for that sort of play.
And I do agree with the what could it look like when it comes to like a SANDBOX loss as a very reasonable way. Just don't do that.
Yeah, how do they win, right? If you think about how they win, that is probably highest on the tier list of the ways that they get back in. So just don't let it happen.
I've also chose to put that question out of my mind. I'm not thinking about how Hanwha wins.
Someone has to do it.
It's true. That's why we keep you around, Atlas. You're
Thanks,
really
man.
good at finding that silver lining.
Yeah. And it's really hard to find. It's a real obscure one.
It is.
This is a real dark cloud.
And you know what? If I'm honest, I've examined it. It's not real silver.
Oh no, you got it appraised?
I did.
Don't get my silver linings appraised,
I'm sorry.
Brother Smithy. That's not how it's supposed to work. I need to be sure that they're real.
Your doubloons are not real. Your silver's not real. I'm
no.
sorry. I know your mum left it to you in the will, but
yep. And that's the. I'm gonna have a conversation with her later.
Don't get it appraised.
Yeah, it's like my sister gets my parents' house, but I thought the doubloons were gonna be worth it.
That pyrite, Atlas.
Yeah, ruined. Pyrite?
Yeah.
Pyrite was great in that World of Warcraft expansion that it existed in, wasn't it?
I've never played World of Warcraft, and you've been demanding that I play.
Well, I mean, the old one comes out, and all the rest of us are going to be playing Brother Smithy. I was trying to get the peer pressure working. Achilleos and I were trying to get the peer pressure working. It just never worked. There's a lot of nostalgia.
I only have an incredibly harsh thing to say back to you on that, so I won't say it.
I actually have an idea of what it is, so I'm feeling the pain regardless of whether you say it. Thank you very much.
Speaking of pain,
we found the last breath! That is a dead Rek'Sai, and that is actually a good kill to be able to pick up there from Hanwha. It means that they're not going to have to worry about too much Baron, but it's not going to affect too much more.
And that's the thing, is the pain train is visible. We know what it looks like. It starts with Gragas, it ends with the Yasuo. But what does it do apart from buy a 26-second death timer on OnFleek? At the moment, as we can see, it doesn't allow Thal to push forward and get closer and closer.
It allowed them to distract from you being mean to me, which I was very happy with. So I'm going to look for more silver linings. As BonO is even able to take away the blue buff. These silver linings coming in thick and fast, Brother Smithy. I think you might need to go back to your appraisal guy and get things sorted out.
Well, we're going to watch the replay of the pain train.
Bye.
Wait, the pain train also went off the tracks there. Did you notice the E-flash missed?
It was an E-flash for the style points of the ultimate's the one that gets the knockdown.
The pain train didn't say BMW, it said BMB.
It's BonO's first game. Come on, we're going to have a few missteps. As we've got a Cloud Drake to come in as well. Another Cloud Drake here. Man, it is overcast.
These
as far
are
as these
some
drakes
rubbish
are concerned.
drakes.
Yeah. We had some rubbish drakes in our second series last night as well. I feel like we haven't got too many good drakes recently.
You've actually never told the chat this, but actually, you have a second job title. You are a Drake appraiser.
I am.
Could you please appraise the Drakes this game?
What do you mean by I've already said
What's the value of it? What's the value of Triple Ocean One Cloud?
Triple Ocean One Cloud is really wet. That's what it is.
I'm not asking the texture, Atlas.
Well, I mean, I'm not really giving it too much of a high score. There's not exactly like you can appraise Drakes too much anyway. But this is yucky.
Okay, yucky is what I was looking.
Yeah, I was actually trying to find my monocle so I could get the appraisal to work, but couldn't find it. Didn't necessarily need it. This is not a great one. If you're gonna get a Triple Ocean though, ever, it's good to get them early, and if you want to fight a lot. So SANDBOX is feeling okay about that. They would have liked to have 3 Infernals after this, though.
Hanwha don't really want to fight, but they can't give up the Barons. It's very awkward when you're in this much of a gold hole. All they can do is blow up one person. And unfortunately, SANDBOX are also grouping. So they've come together, they start up the Baron, and let's see how Hanwha approach, because you'll notice every avenue is working.
Yep, and Joker be able to throw out the tongue lash. You've only got 2 sitting on this Baron, but that's all they needed. Is that's the disengage ultimate to come out from Summit to try and guarantee. But the damage isn't necessarily huge onto this Baron. Down to 6,000 health. Chains of Corruption fly in, but I believe that was a wind wall that stopped that one from actually affecting it. The quickness now comes down from Summit. So many different options to stop them from getting into this pit. 2,000 gold. Now they're going to burst it, and Hanwha say that they can't get in. That was beautiful from SANDBOX.
A lot of great Silas problem solving that we've seen so far in LCK Summer. Rather than mindlessly taking the closest target, just taking the quickness with only one avenue to enter the Baron pit. Hanwha Life move away, and they got a free Baron with not even any summoners needing to be expended on the side of SANDBOX.
Yeah, stunning stuff here from Summit. Sitting on 0, 1, and 5, not necessarily a huge scoreline, but it's everything else that he's done this game that has been so impeccable. 70 CS is still going to be the advantage that he has, and he solo stopped Hanwha from even getting into the river towards checking that Baron pit.
And it's going to be so fascinating to watch Hanwha Life's next game this week, because this sort of a loss is such a momentum killer in the first series of a season is mid lane.
Yep, Sangyoon has to use his ultimate, and Summit doesn't even lose 100 health until the Blade Caller comes in.
He still has the quickness using
he's actually going to use it, to dive towards this inner turret. Max range on the Q doesn't find anyone, but it's a fair bit of damage now down onto this inner turret. Ghost able to get into auto range. That is going to be the turret brute force with the help of that siege minion.
Cycling that ult again, back to Gragas for Summit.
Yeah, he dashed a little bit late though, so down to about half health.
This feels like a let's get Silas nerf game.
Yeah, this looks like also Summit's like showing off at this point. Because remember, he sat behind Keen for a long time, and Keen's been getting a lot of good press recently. Summit saying that, hey, like he wasn't the only great guy to come from the Afrika Freaks.
Well, SANDBOX were already a great 1-3-1 team, and now they're a great 1-3-1 team with Baron, so we know how that goes.
Yeah, to go back to this particular game and how it is going to work out, another inner turret is going to buy the dust, and minion wave is slowly going to push back for them. Another ultimate to fly forward, but this one isn't going to be the start of any fight. Blade Caller there from Sangyoon, but he is so low. He just can't get into auto range onto anyone, and Dove in the meantime is on the bottom side of the map, causing another ruckus. Summit comes in, steals another ultimate. He's been cycling through all of them this game and using them mainly just to be annoying, and it's working.
Absolutely. I'm tilted for Hanwha Life and how strong this Silas is. He's got a round warp now.
Yep. One after the other as SANDBOX have moved towards that top side as well. It was the Abyssal Voyage that got Ghost and Joker up there. This inner turret is going to go down. The inhibitor turret isn't going to be regenerating anywhere near fast enough to get things to move back towards some sort of normalcy here for Hanwha Life. They are just slowly but surely losing this game. They need to find a miracle fight. They need to find it fast, otherwise they just naturally lose this game.
But Atlas, they need all 5 people to be together to get a miracle fight, and they're still being separated. The 1-3-1 here.
Did you see Ghost damage there on the top side of the map as well? As the tower falls down bottom side, Thal getting taken down to half health, but half health is the margin for the bottom lane here for Hanwha Life, who are desperately trying to defend. Dove now solo in the mid lane, and the inhibitor is dealt with there as Summit. He just demands too much respect. Hanwha now with 2 turrets left remaining as of the inhibitor variety that they need to try and protect, and Summit's going to say that they're going to need to protect their Nexus turrets as well.
Will he find a way to use that Yasuo ult is the biggest question we have left in this series.
Yep, he is. He's going to do it right then as BonO is going to go golden. He sees his death in amongst 5 members of SANDBOX Gaming, and he's probably going to see the end of this game as well, because the whole base is erupting. Another quickness to come in from Summit. He's just having the best time this game on this Silas.
Someone stop this man. He's just stealing everything, and Hanwha Life is so far behind. They're so poor.
I've never seen someone get this hijacked as he's diving on forward, gets everyone charmed up. As there's the Void Wrath. OnFleek is going to go golden. He should eventually fall down as Joker has to utilize his Grey Health, but the Nexus turret's going to be taking him down. The rest of SANDBOX looking for more as now Dove has to go into his Zonya's Hourglass, and eventually does actually manage to survive. Kingslayer doing some work there from Summit, but that's called throwing away your life, and SANDBOX fighting off a little bit more than they can chew. This victory lap was taken slightly too early. Dove is able to pick up 1. Does have key, potentially able to be taken down, but the Guardian Shield is going to be there. No, it is not. It's just the shield from his passive coming up at exactly the right time.
Well, that was an incredibly scuffed attempt to end the game by SANDBOX, like you say.
We've needed once again the yakety sax music to come in.
I really feel like it was a missed opportunity today. finally someone made an honest man out of Summit, because that man had been stealing from a charity case for quite a long time in game number 2. Hanwha Life, they've got 2 Nexus turrets, and they're the reason they were able to win this fight.
We want to have a look at the damage graph with Nexus turrets included, please. Because they certainly ramped up some damage.
I'm just seeing if the Nexus turret actually aggroed a minion. It hit 1 time onto the cannon, and then it was at least 15 hits across the members of SANDBOX.
Yeah. Summit diving in and just getting smashed by it. Not entirely sure what that attempt was. They're able to grab the Guardian Angel there as well, as Dove was able to at least stop them from pressing too far forward. And Ghost, he doesn't have that, but he now has a Bloodthirster, and that is a lot of extra lifesteal. The only one to have not died so far this game.
I just haven't really seen a game like this in a while, when you have a Silas so far ahead of the enemy team, you know, when there's comical gold lead.
Yeah.
Because it really feels like Hanwha Life put out a tip jar, and Summit keeps saying, thank you very much, thank you very much. Stealing away the little bits that Hanwha Life have. Thal did go down the Righteous Glory path, like you mentioned. He is a pseudo frontliner here, with a lot of beef behind him, but unfortunately, lack of CS, a lack of control means that whatever Hanwha Life is doing feels so irrelevant, because SANDBOX is just winning the game around Hanwha Life's decision.
Yeah, if Hanwha Life had a Maokai on their team, he would also be a pseudo frontline in this game, probably. They are just that far behind. The Baron is taken for free as an afterthought here for SANDBOX, as they look to push these double super minion waves towards these Nexus turrets that they need to take revenge on.
While Summit's been the most visible, he doesn't have any kills. It's been Dove that's cleaned up. Dove has 6 of the 9. Death cap completed. Just waiting for his entrance to the fight. That was a cast.
That was a lightning wall as well. It did block that cast. It did half the health bar of lava. He had to get himself out of there. Thal with the aftershock now on cooldown, but thankfully they've dealt with the minion waves that OnFleek has now put another one in towards these Nexus turrets. They are not long for this world, though. They have to tank them up, and there's another 2 super minion waves coming on in, and SANDBOX are just waiting for those minions to deal with these turrets. Summit does have that quickness once again, gets back in with the abscond. He's going to use the ultimate, but he's going to use it late as he goes golden. Last breath is going to come down. He hasn't died just yet. Dove goes golden as well. The Kingslayer seems to be doing so much work. How does he survive for so damn long, as Thal is not going to? The Nexus dies as well, and SANDBOX makes quick work of Hanwha Life 2-0.